The eldest sister who married into the chancellor's household has passed away. When the son-in-law came to announce the death, he said, before her final breath, Pillow Moon specifically instructed that her younger sister, Xianin, be given to me as a second wife. Otherwise, she would die with regret. To maintain the marital alliance with the chancellor's household, father hastily agreed. While I was embroidering the wedding gown, a heavenly script suddenly appeared before my eyes. The supporting female lead must not marry into that household. The female lead faked her death to provoke the male lead. She will reappear in 3 years to rekindle their romance. The reason the supporting female lead must marry there is solely to prevent the concubines in the mansion from usurping her position as the main wife and mistreating her son. The embroidery needle pierced my finger, adding another splash of crimson to the wedding gown. 3 years? Meng Jinyue, I will manage the chancellor's household flawlessly and never disappoint you. My elder sister possessed extraordinary beauty and boundless talent. Though she was the principal wife, she excelled at deciphering men's hearts. 3 years after marrying the chancellor's only son, she still held him firmly in the palm of her hand. She often boasted to us, the group of unmarried daughters, studying those household affairs day in and day out is so tedious. Life is short, we must enjoy ourselves. The romance and pleasures ahead are still waiting for us. We knew nothing of romance and pleasures. After all, of the 4 Meng daughters, only Meng Jinyue had ever married. But one day, she suddenly sent home a letter. My husband has been bewitched by a vile woman and lost his true self. I will make him pay for losing me. Later, the eldest sister truly died. Father and mother clung to each other, weeping inconsolably. The messenger, her husband, knelt in the hall below, his expression profoundly sorrowful. Father, mother. It is all my fault. I quarreled with Jinyue. She is so stubborn by nature, and in a moment of despair. But that concubine was bestowed upon me by Her Majesty the Empress. I cannot treat her too harshly. As he spoke, this man of 8 feet tall, the sole son of the esteemed chancellor, burst into unrestrained sobs, covering his face without regard for his dignity. His wails were heart-wrenching, piercing the soul. Even his parents paused to comfort him. Yet the 3 sisters standing nearby remained expressionless, seeming utterly out of place. Our eldest sister, who would cry over the slightest scrape, had actually been ruthless enough to take her own life. This was utterly beyond my comprehension. When had Meng Jinyue ever possessed such fortitude? But before I could dwell on it further, our new son-in-law interrupted my thoughts. Before her death, Jinyue specifically requested that her younger sister, Xianin, be given to me as a secondary wife. Otherwise, she would die with regret. Cui Jiming frowned at me, as if looking upon someone utterly repulsive. My parents, who had been in anguish moments before, froze in shock. This unexpected good news left them utterly bewildered. It took them a long while to recover. My poor daughter, she must have been unable to bear parting with the child she had just given birth to. Poor thing, so young, not even able to call out mother yet. Father abruptly pulled me over from the side. Xianin is good, sensible and obedient. She practically raised her 2 half-sisters herself. She'll surely care for my newborn grandson well. Cui Jiming's expression softened slightly. Jinyue's suggestion is undoubtedly the best. But my wife has only recently passed. I truly wish to avoid a grand celebration for this marriage. It's merely remarriage, no need for such pomp. We're old in-laws now. Let's skip the formalities. Father and mother nodded in agreement, praising the son-in-law's wisdom. With just a few words, they hastily agreed to my lifelong commitment. Yet I, the one directly involved, wasn't even given a chance to speak. Ever since my betrothal to the chancellor's household was sealed, my stepmother confined me to my room to embroider my wedding gown. One night, as I stitched the final thread onto the robe by candlelight, rows of cryptic script suddenly appeared before my eyes. Female supporting character, do not marry into that family. The female lead faked her death to provoke the male lead. She will reappear in 3 years to rekindle their romance. Faked death. My sharp mind latched onto those words. Instantly, I grasped 80 to 90% of the heavenly script. The script flashed by in rows. I learned of my tragic fate to come. Falsely accused by Zhao Ma, the matron serving Meng Jinyue, of injuring the pregnant Meng Jinyue, I was flogged 30 times by Cui Jiming and confined in the ancestral hall. Unable to accept this injustice, I later set myself ablaze within the Cui family shrine. After my death, the two of them shed a few crocodile tears before wandering off together into the world. But I felt it was still not enough. If I couldn't accept it, I should have dragged them both down to hell with me. To let them roam freely in the end? That would be pure foolishness on my part. As for that child I nurtured for 3 years. After Meng Jinyue returned, he turned around without hesitation and stomped on me. You're just a lowly concubine's daughter. How dare you presume to be my mother? I despised Meng Jinyue. But I would never harm a child. Who could have imagined I'd raise such a heartless little monster? Watching the scene unfold in the celestial script, I let my lips curve into a smile. Meng Jinyue, I shall manage the Chancellor's household perfectly for you. I won't disappoint you. I was the second daughter of the Meng family. I had 2 younger sisters. Like me, all 3 of us were born to different concubines in the mansion. Though we were also Lord Meng's biological daughters, our status fell short of even the curly-haired dog from the west kept by Meng Jinyue. Let alone the darling son of the legitimate wife, young Master Meng. We weren't even fit to carry his shoes. The Meng family had once enjoyed glory in its ancestral days. But generation after generation, in the capital teeming with noble houses, their prestige has faded. Father pinned all his hopes on that good-for-nothing young master. My legitimate elder sister, however, proved worthy. Quick-witted and never confined to the confines of the inner quarters, she stood as a refreshing exception among the many prim and proper daughters of distinguished families. She organized poetry gatherings, where exquisite verses were composed and shared. Some were even set to music, becoming ballads that swept across the land and set the trends of the capital. She made her husband adore her utterly and exclusively, becoming the envy of every married woman in the capital. Yet the very skills she prided herself on turned us 3 younger sisters into the very brides matchmakers avoided. Mother always said, a strong woman can conquer the world. But being a woman is truly too difficult. Confined to the inner quarters, our sole purpose was to marry and become assets to the household's male line. We unmarried concubine daughters were the cast-offs of the entire Meng family. Alas, Meng Jinyue was blinded by her romantic infatuations, unable to see clearly. The boundless affection she believed she possessed was merely a consequence of her utility to Meng Yu. Now she is gone. I have become the sole link to the Cui family. I bet they won't abandon me no matter what. I rummaged through the bedding and pulled out a stick, examining it closely. Dog beating stick. Specifically for beating dogs. I concealed the stick beneath my robes. I knocked on my stepmother's door. Mother, it's me. An impatient voice came from inside. What is it at this hour? I replied, I still have questions regarding my marriage to the Cui household. I came to seek Mother's counsel. The door opened by Mother Zhao, her attendant. I stepped into the inner chamber. Father was there too. Perfect. Saved me the trouble of searching for him. Seeing their faces cloud with impending anger, I said, this is urgent. Mother, please have the others step far away. Veins throbbed on the stepmother's forehead. She signaled the night maids to withdraw. Speak quickly. If you can't explain properly, I'll make you pay. I bowed respectfully. The next instant, I drew the dog whipping stick from my calf. Before either of them could react, I swung it in a wide arc, striking my father squarely on the forehead. Thud. The flesh on his face jiggled in the air as he collapsed onto the bed, dazed. My stepmother turned ashen at the sight. She shrieked and scrambled backward. Someone! Quick! Someone! I lashed out, striking her calf hard. Just as I raised the club for a second blow, several maids and maidservants seized me. The club rolled to the floor, where father picked it up. He forced himself upright. The rod in his hand swung back and forth. But in the end, he couldn't bring himself to strike. Seeing the mockery in my expression, his face flushed with embarrassment. Take her away. Lock her in the ancestral hall for reflection. No one is to release her without my orders. I lay on the floor of the ancestral hall. watching the celestial scriptures drift past before my eyes. Holy crap! She's such a wicked villainess, I like her even more now. What do I do? The plot's changed. Is the villainess in danger now? I yawned. Counting on my father to stand up for me? That's like expecting a sow to climb a tree. Now I'm the chosen one to be Chui Jiming's new wife. To avoid more trouble, they'll just have to grit their teeth and swallow their anger. Sure enough, the next day, a servant from father's entourage respectfully escorted me out. Father put on a gentle smile. Today is your elder sister's funeral. Behave yourself. Don't cause any more trouble. Seeing I didn't respond, he looked at me earnestly, his face still slightly swollen. Ah, is that all right? I nodded. Only then did he relax and enter the Chancellor's residence with us. Father wore a swollen, pig-like face. My legitimate mother limped on one leg. When questioned, they claimed it was due to excessive grief. One had banged their head against a wall, the other had twisted their ankle. While everyone else went to the front courtyard, I slipped away to where the coffin was kept. I wished to speak with my sister alone. Everyone, please withdraw. My impending marriage to Chui Jiming as his second wife was no secret. The servants of the Chui household were more or less willing to show some courtesy to their future young mistress. Once everyone had left, my fourth sister remained outside as a lookout. My third sister and I worked together to pry open the coffin lid. Second sister, hurry! Urged by my youngest sister, I drew the dagger I'd concealed in my sleeve. I aimed it at Meng Jinyue's chest and plunged it in with all my strength. If she was going to die, she'd die completely. After tidying everything, we sat in the front hall. The heavenly book flickered faster than ever before. Wait. What did the female supporting character just do? Even if they destroy the heroine's corpse, it won't matter. After 3 years, when the heroine returns, the system will effortlessly grant her a new vessel. Who can blame the male lead for true love? Even in a different body, he'd recognize her at a glance. It's killing me. The heavenly book soon erupted in chaos. Wait, they can be as lovey-dovey as they want behind closed doors, why drag the female supporting character into this? Casually ruining someone else's entire life just to fulfill their own love? I silently noted the crucial details within. What a bullshit female lead. Meng Jinyue, on the other hand, seemed like 100% demonic entity. Seeing me remain silent, father inquired, Xianyin, what are you pondering? I offered a flawless smile. Father, I was merely reflecting on a picture book I recently read. Tell me, is it possible for someone to exchange bodies and live in this world as another person? Father paused, unable to respond. Our Mr. Chui immediately countered. You've clearly gone mad from reading those picture books. Such fabricated nonsense can't be taken seriously. Even if it were true, it must be the work of demons and spirits. They should be burned at the stake to eliminate future troubles. I nodded thoughtfully. Soon, the time came for my marriage to Chui Jiming. It's merely a second marriage. No need for such grand festivities. Those were Chui Jiming's exact words. A sedan chair would arrive shortly to carry me to the Chui residence. A few familiar guests would be invited for a simple banquet, and that would be that. Seated in the swaying sedan chair, I entered the Chui estate. I waited from daylight until nightfall. The Chui household seemed to have forgotten I existed. The food boxes prepared in advance were withheld, the steward merely stating it was against protocol. Listening to the lively sounds outside. Without waiting for Chui Jiming, I lifted my veil myself and searched the room for food. Zhao Nanny, who had been waiting to attend, hurriedly stopped me. Young madam, the young master has not yet lifted your veil nor drunk the union wine. The ceremony is not complete. Your actions are most improper. Zhao Nanny had been the wet nurse for my elder sister during her time in the mansion. She served my sister with unwavering devotion, and my sister treated her with utmost respect. But after years of flattery from those around her, she had forgotten her place. Her words were respectful, but her actions were deeply offensive. She reached out to push me back. But before her hand touched my sleeve, Chui Lu, standing beside me, grabbed her arm. Nanny Zhao fumed, "How dare you? I am the eldest Mrs. Wet Nurse. Who do you think you are to stop me? Amid her torrent of curses, Chui Jiming entered. He was sloshed. I've long heard the second young miss of the Meng household is unpresentable. He eyed me up and down, snorting derisively. Indeed. My elder sister always mentioned in our past correspondence, my husband cherishes and loves me, he's the finest man in all the world. But what man in this world doesn't stray? Especially one who can't control his own desires? Just like the way he looked at me now. Contempt mixed with an uncontrollable undercurrent. It was truly revolting. Chui Jiming flopped onto the bed. Come attend me. Another cryptic message appeared. Has the male lead been possessed? Wasn't he devoted only to the female lead? Upper floor, wake up. A man's deep affection is always an act. He's already taken a concubine and remarried. Do you really expect pure love? So taking a concubine was forced by the empress, and remarrying was forced by Meng Jinyue. Does someone even force him to sleep? The others in the room discreetly withdrew. I lifted my foot and walked toward Chui Jiming. His eyes remained glued to me, never once looking away. I asked in confusion. Why are you staring at me? Chui Jiming's voice was tinged with drunkenness. Though you're coarse and vulgar, nothing like your sister. But since you've married into this family, I won't neglect you. I'll give you everything you deserve, so no one looks down on you. A cold laugh rose in my heart. Even if he truly coveted my appearance, he still felt the need to belittle me. As if doing so would ease his conscience. I stopped beside the bed. My sister's body isn't even cold yet. If she heard these words, she'd surely be heartbroken. The affection on Chui Jiming's face vanished instantly. He seemed to feel embarrassed, then grew sullen. We stood in a standoff. He was waiting for me to lower myself and make overtures to him. A hesitant flute melody drifted from the side courtyard. The tune was mournful and plaintive, like a lament. What I'd been waiting for finally appeared. Yet Jiang Yuyan's flute was punctuated by several off-key notes, a perfect example of when the melody falters, Zhou Ling turns his gaze. I watched as Chui Jiming's attention was drawn away by the sound. He seemed to have found his own way out. You're utterly unreasonable. Reflect on your actions. With that, he flung his sleeves and strode off to the neighboring orchid fragrance courtyard. Chui Lu helped me remove the hairpins from my hair. Just as I was about to rest, the door creaked open from the outside. Zhao Ma had witnessed Chui Jiming storming out of my room in anger. She stood with her hands on her hips. Young madam, please don't blame me for speaking out of turn. Before she could finish, Chui Lu slapped her across the face. If you know you're being nosy, keep your mouth shut. If you can't control yourself, I'll sew it shut for you, ma'am. Zhao Ma'am's eyes widened. She opened her mouth but ultimately dared not speak. I glanced at the candlestick on the table. This design is too plain. I don't like it. Zhao Ma hesitated for a long moment before speaking again. Madam, these are all styles favored by the previous mistress. If you dislike them, I'll have the steward custom make a new set for you tomorrow. Chui Lu shook her head. Ma'am misunderstands. The young mistress dislikes these candlesticks because she's taken a liking to your hands. Tonight, I'll trouble you to light my lamps for me. I yawned. Newly arrived, the former mistress's lackeys naturally wouldn't submit to me. But if I let these insolent servants ride roughshod over me, I'd likely lose my position as young mistress altogether. Might as well pack my things and go serve old Ma Zhao instead. The next morning, after being shut out by my mother-in-law, I waited until the sun was high in the sky. Only then did Jiang Yuyan sway her slender waist over to pay her respects. Greetings, madam. Her face was delicate and alluring, her voice soft and sweet. Had I been a man, I'd likely have trembled at the sound. She was a completely different type from my elder sister. People crave novelty. Heavenly vows, love for one alone. Such words were best heard and forgotten. Jiang Yuyan rose and seated herself. Last night, it was not my intention to seize the young master. It was merely a momentary whim. I recalled the melody the young master once taught me to play, so I took the flute and began to play. She smiled shyly. But I'm clumsy, I played a few wrong notes. Young master couldn't bear to listen, so he came to this courtyard to teach me anew. I sneered inwardly. A woman sent by Her Majesty the Empress dares call herself clumsy? Meanwhile, my elder sister boasts she surpasses every noble lady in the capital. Truly, the heavens have turned upside down. Since you're so eager to learn, I have several rare scores from renowned masters here. Take them and practice diligently. I turn to Cui Lu, find several excellent tutors for concubine Jiang. Ensure they impart the most exquisite skills to her. With that said, I smiled at Jiang Yuyan. Practice away, little sister. In a few days, I shall be inspecting your progress. I dispatched attendants daily to Orchid Fragrance Courtyard. Guidance in name, supervision in truth. Thus, each morning when I paid respects to my mother-in-law, Jiang Yuyan's flute practice would punctually echo from the neighboring courtyard. Only when the sun dipped below the western mountains would she cease. Within days, Cui Jiming brought her to serve the meal. Jiang Yuyan bowed her head. Madam, please dine. The voice that had once been clear and sweet as a nightingale's song now sounded hoarse and raspy, like a leaky bellows. If it had been anyone else, they would surely have made a scene. But Jiang Yuyan kept her composure. This step of retreating to advance had already stirred Cui Jiming's heart with pity. Jinyue's heart is as kind as gold. She wouldn't even step on an ant. How could she have such a vicious sister? My eyes stung with tears. Sister was most skilled at playing the flute. Her rendition of The Partridge Takes Flight once moved the entire realm. Alas, beauty is fleeting. Cui Jiming paused, his expression clouding with sorrow. Young Yen made a mistake in her playing that day. I happen to have several masters here who once taught my elder sister. Surely they could assist young Yen? But mastering this requires relentless practice, training through the harshest winters and sweltering summers. I never imagined. Never mind. If little sister Yuyan dislikes it, I'll dismiss those tutors. Jiang Yuyan grew flustered, her voice strained as she tried to explain. Cui Jiming frowned and cut her off mid-sentence. I glanced down at Aunt Zhao. Speaking of which, sister has been quite concerned. Worried about Sister Zhang's health, she had Auntie Zhao prepare medicinal decoctions daily and deliver them to Orchid Fragrance Courtyard. Auntie Zhao, since Lady Jiang is here now, there's no need for you to make another trip. Auntie Zhao's gaze met mine, her back hunching even deeper. She hurriedly presented a bowl of medicinal broth. She presented it before Cui Jiming. Seeing the probing look in his eyes intensify, I continued. I suppose sister is concerned Jiang's sister might not take her medicine properly, so she had Auntie Zhao prepare it. I was somewhat puzzled. By the way, Jiang's sister, what ails you? Should we summon the estate physician? By now, Jiang Yuyan's face had turned completely pale. She knelt down with a thud. Her voice was hoarse as she said, I drink only the pregnancy-preserving medicine brewed in my own courtyard every day. Yet this medicine appeared in Auntie Zhao's hands. I simply cannot help but suspect something. Cui Jiming's face darkened. The depth of his earlier affection was now matched by the intensity of his anger. He slammed his teacup down. Investigate this. He likely already suspected something, but without proof, he refused to believe it. In his heart, Meng Jinyue had always been a pure, flawless presence. Now, that illusion shattered, it was unbearable for him to accept. Zhao Ma still persisted. I placed a hand over my heart. Nanny, explain this clearly. What is going on? Her legs trembled as she knelt on the ground. Please spare my life, my lord. Lady Jinyue ordered me to do all of this. Zhao Nanny was dragged out and beaten to death by Cui Jiming's order. The incident was never made public. Not a soul in the entire Cui residence mentioned it. This was the last shred of dignity Cui Jiming granted Meng Jinyue. Perhaps it was for Meng Jinyue's sake. Cui Jiming hadn't visited my courtyard for many days now. That had been my intention all along. A major announcement came from Jiang Yuyan's courtyard. She was expecting. This news spread so quickly it even startled my mother-in-law, who spent her days shut indoors chanting sutras. My son has been lonely without heirs. Children his age run about the courtyard everywhere, yet we've finally been blessed with another child. Chang'er will finally have a companion. As she spoke these words, her eyes darted toward me with disapproval. The mess Meng Jinyue left behind still fell to me to clean up. I bowed my head obediently. You're absolutely right, mother. Your daughter-in-law will find several pure-blooded, lovely young women for my husband to choose from, ensuring the Cui family's lineage continues. As I spoke, Jiang Yuyan's smile nearly slipped. Cui Jiming, however, remained impassive throughout, as if the discussion didn't concern him at all. Why wasn't he playing the devoted husband now? If he truly loved Meng Jinyue beyond reason, he should have thrown himself to his death on the day of her funeral. How could a man be so greedy? Wanting both reputation and profit, without considering whether he could actually handle it. Back in my courtyard, I immediately began making urgent arrangements for bringing in new brides. Cui Jiming is utterly hypocritical. Then I shall play the role of the virtuous wife and devoted mother. One by one, many beautiful young women entered the Cui residence. Each was carefully selected by me, women of pure lineage and exceptional talents. Some excelled in music and possessed brilliant literary skills. Some were skilled dancers with icy grace. Others were sweetly innocent, with cloud-like hair and flower-like faces. Husband, most of these sisters have suffered great misfortune. Alone, they struggle to survive. Others face being forced by their fathers or brothers to marry cruel and brutal officials. If you have no interest, please at least give them ample silver to send them away. It would be a small act of kindness. Cui Jiming feigned deep thought for a moment. Since their circumstances are so dire, I shall take them all into the inner courtyard. When I first married in, my mother-in-law feared I was merely putting on a show, that I was another Meng Jinyue. But one after another, the concubines and mistresses in the household conceived, bearing children one after another. They added many heirs to the Cui household. I set myself as the exemplary matriarch, arranging every household matter with precision. I also restored the tarnished reputation of Meng Jinyue and found good homes for the remaining two sisters. Only then did my mother-in-law relax, handing over the household management to me. A maid from Jiang Yuyan's quarters rushed in with urgent news. Young madam, a maid in my mistress's courtyard has gone mad. She's choking young Master Nian and won't let go. My mistress sent me to ask your orders. May we execute the maid? It had been only 2 short years since Meng Jinyue feigned death. The celestial script, long absent, had reappeared. The female lead couldn't hold back. Before the agreed time with the system, she rushed back, possessing someone else's body. My heart aches for that innocent maid. A maid's life is still a life. The words on the tip of her tongue shifted. Such a thing has happened? Come with me to see. Upon arriving at Orchid Fragrance Courtyard, Jiang Yuyan was ordering servants to pin down an unremarkable little maid and slap her face. At first glance, I recognized her as Meng Jinyue. Though she wore a different skin, the clumsy scheming in her eyes remained unhidden. Meng Jinyue wept uncontrollably. When had she ever endured such suffering? Spotting me, she immediately struggled and reached out. Sister, save me! Hurry and fetch my husband to uphold justice for me. Jiang Yuyan glared at Meng Jinyue but bowed respectfully to me. Over the years, Jiang Yuyan and I had become acquainted through conflict. I had once promised her son, Nian, the position of crown prince, on the condition that she treat the other concubines in the household kindly. Such a clever woman, though I hadn't spoken much with her, must surely have guessed the hidden truth. Young madam, this maid has gone completely mad. She claims to be Lady Jinyue. Should we beat her to death and throw her out? Meng Jinyue spat viciously from her kneeling position. What kind of creature are you to speak to me this way? When Master Cui returns, I'll send you to the lowest brothel, where you'll serve the lowest of the low every day. And that little bastard of yours, how dare he be born into this world? Drowning him in a chamber pot would be too good for him. Jiang Yuyan's expression turned icy cold. Before she could erupt, Cui Lu, standing beside me, stepped forward and slapped her hard across the face. The blow stunned Meng Jinyue for a long moment. Only then did she point at me. You really think you can defy me? Don't you dare forget who put you in this position. If not for me, you'd still be an old maid at home, never having married. I stared intently at her face, and Meng Jinyue visibly flinched under my gaze. The maiden concubine Zhang's courtyard was possessed and harmed young Master Nian. To prevent her from harming others again, she was burned at the stake to purge the evil spirit. Meng Jinyue's face turned deathly pale. She collapsed to the ground. As Meng Jinyue was escorted out of Lanxiang courtyard, news arrived that something had happened to Chang'e, the child born to Meng Jinyue. The wet nurse attending Chang'e came reporting, her face filled with terror. "Young madam, I was called away by a strange young servant just now. When I returned, I frowned. Why the hesitation?" The wet nurse knelt with a thud. "When I returned, young Master Chang had fallen into the courtyard pond. He has passed." Jiang Yuyan covered her mouth in shock. "What? What are we to do now?" I shot her a glance. Jiang Yuyan's lips twitched imperceptibly as she took a few steps back. Meng Jinyue nearly collapsed. Fortunately, Cui Lu caught her, preventing her from falling to the ground. "Ah, my child!" She wept with heart-wrenching grief, as if a piece of her heart had been torn out. But I was utterly baffled. Did she truly have any affection for a child she had never even held? After handling young Master Chang's affairs, I reclined on the daybed, letting Cui Lu knead my shoulders and massage my back. Meng Jinyue knelt below, her expression dazed. "Long time no see, sister." She suddenly straightened, eyes wide. "So you recognized me after all. You poisonous woman. You let Jiang Yuyan humiliate me, then sent men to kill my son. I demand to see Cui Lang. I'll have him flay your skin and tear out your tendons to vent my fury." I shook my head. "Eldest sister, you're mistaken. I didn't harm Chang'e. Think carefully, what did you do upon your return?" She pondered briefly. "It was her. For that bastard child. She's avenging that bastard." I sighed. My sister truly remained innocent and naive from beginning to end. Calling him a bastard, did she really think Jiang Yuyan was an easy target? "Eldest sister, as your younger sister, I must advise you, do not speak of seeing your husband again. I truly fear it will only break your heart." She stiffened her neck. "Are you afraid?" I brushed aside Cui Lu's hand and walked down. "What about the original owner of this body? How did you manage to inhabit someone else's body?" Her expression held a hint of smugness. "I am blessed by the divine. Unlike you mere mortals, I can naturally return to the mortal world." I curved my lips. "Very well. I'll see just what kind of devil this so-called divine being is." Cui Jiming received news of Chang'e's death. He hurried back in haste. The moment he entered, he witnessed the standoff between me and Meng Jinyue. Seeing Cui Jiming, Meng Jinyue seemed to find her anchor. She weakly threw herself into Cui Jiming's embrace. "Husband, it's Jinyue. You must recognize me, right? You've grown so thin these past 2 years." Tears rolled down her cheeks at the perfect moment. Yet paired with her current appearance, they looked rather unseemly. Cui Jiming's earlier look of shock couldn't be feigned. It was exactly as the heavenly text had foretold. Even in a different body, he would recognize Meng Jinyue at a glance. But Meng Jinyue waited a long time, yet received no tender comfort from Cui Jiming. Having lost her beloved 2 years ago, she should have been overjoyed at this reunion. Yet the current scene was clearly not what she had imagined. "Cui Lang. Did you not recognize me? We once flew kites together in the west of the city, gazed at the stars together in the countryside. You even said..." Meng Jinyue's voice trembled, panic evident in her voice. Cui Jiming pushed the figure clinging to him away with disgust. "Enough! What sort of demon or spirit are you, knowing the secrets between me and Jinyue?" He turned his gaze to me. "Xianin, go find some Taoist priests. It seems our Cui residence truly needs a proper exorcism." With that, he flung his sleeves and turned to leave. Meng Jinyue sat there, hollow-eyed, muttering something indistinct. After a long while, she finally looked at me, tears welling in her eyes. "Don't think you've won just like that. You, a woman trapped in this feudal society, do you even understand what true love is? You used my connections to become the main wife, yet you still have to share your partner with a harem of women, competing with other females. How pathetic you are. Meng Jinyue often spoke with startling candor. But I couldn't understand, wasn't the rule allowing men to have multiple wives established by those in power? Why did the blame always fall on the women confined to the inner courtyard? Meng Jinyue stood up and wiped away her tears. She flashed me a carefree smile. Since he can't recognize me and lets other women kill our child, I don't want him anymore. She stretched her neck, her expression one of resignation. Kill me. I smiled. I wonder, if I kill you, will you return to your original world? Meng Jinyue's eyes snapped open. This time, she was genuinely panicked. What? Have you lost your mind? What nonsense are you spouting? A ball of rage had been festering in my heart. But why? Meng Jinyue. You came here, lived a whirlwind romance, none of this had anything to do with me. Yet you sacrificed my entire life to fulfill your own. I never claimed to be a saint. Vengeance is in my blood. I glanced at the scrolling celestial script before me. Does the female lead still want to stage a chase the wife cremation scene? Honestly, with the male lead's drastic change, it's highly likely the female lead got ugly. The female supporting character finally woke up. I reached out and clamped my hand around Meng Jinyue's neck. My fingers tightened until her face flushed crimson. Just as she was about to find release, I suddenly loosened my grip. Meng Jinyue, death isn't that easy to come by. I hid Meng Jinyue away. When Cui Jiming inquired, I replied, that maid was truly unnerving. I had Master Qingfeng burn her. As I spoke, a fleeting look of reluctance flashed in Cui Jiming's eyes. But it lasted only a moment. His gaze was swiftly drawn to Nian Guer. He went off to play with that chubby little child, who looked like a New Year's painting doll. Right. His inner courtyard was filled with beautiful wives and concubines. Once bound by vows of lifelong devotion to one person, he was now completely set free. How could he willingly return to those days of old? Back in the room. Cui Lu whispered in my ear, everything is arranged. I nodded. Night. I knelt in reverent prayer within the ancestral hall. Cui Jiming was summoned by Cui Lu. He had just emerged from Aunt Lu's courtyard, his expression deeply displeased. What urgent matter demands discussion now? I turned to face him. Husband. I keep dreaming of my sister. She says the fire burned her terribly. Cui Jiming shuddered. Why are you spouting such nonsense out of the blue? If you're truly this afraid, then invite Master Qingfeng to our home. He paused, then spoke again. There are still many children in the household. This matter should be handled promptly. I nodded. I wish to pray for my sister once more. Husband, please go ahead. Cui Jiming turned to leave. But the next instant, Cui Lu struck him on the head. He clutched his head in disbelief, turning to look at me. You. Before the words could leave his mouth, Cui Lu wrenched his arm from its socket. His face contorted in agony, cold sweat dripping in large drops. Husband, today I shall present you with a grand gift. Sister was furious you failed to recognize her. She planned to leave, breaking your heart. But I've always been your devoted younger sister. Unwilling to see lovers parted, I deliberately kept you here, to fulfill the vows you swore that day. I intend to send you both away together. Only with a beginning and an end can perfection be achieved. I pulled Meng Jinyue out from behind the altar table. Sister, I'll tell you a secret. Your beloved Cui recognized you at first sight. He just didn't want to acknowledge you. I patted her cheek. Are you awake now? Meng Jinyue wept uncontrollably. But this time, she didn't dwell on Cui Jiming's refusal to recognize her, nor did she act as boldly as before. Instead, she begged for mercy. I was wrong. I nodded. Admitting mistakes makes for a good child. I'd grant her a swift end. Right before Cui Jiming's eyes. With a hairpin, I carved out a translucent sphere from her skull, clear as glass. It tried to escape. I crushed it underfoot. Cui Jiming stood speechless, stunned by the spectacle. What was that thing just now? Is that what brought Meng Jinhua back from the dead? Correct. But no reward for getting it right. I left with Cui Lu. Before departing, I tossed a torch into the ancestral hall. We hid in the shadows, watching the raging flames swiftly consume the hall. I felt as if I were witnessing the prophecy from the celestial text, my original fate. Burning to death within the ancestral hall, descending into madness before death, like a madwoman driven to her end. Now, I had repaid them in full. Before the household servants could arrive, I left the Cui residence with Cui Lu. At the tea house, heard the young master and mistress of the Cui household perished in the ancestral hall. Someone nearby nodded. Yes, that fire. Truly. But anyone with eyes could see. This was no accident. Someone whispered, young Master Cui got his just deserts, and dragged young Mistress Cui down with him. My brother works at the Cui residence, carrying out those two charred bodies that day. It was beyond unsettling. I curved my lips. Indeed. Their retribution was me. Xianyin's side story, mother always said, when a woman is strong, the world becomes vast. Therefore, when father demoted her from wife to concubine, she resolutely demanded a divorce. But father flew into a terrible rage. Which official family in the capital would ever divorce? The shame would kill us all. He flung his sleeves. I'll make this clear. I only offer divorce. If you agree, take the papers and return to your family. Mother swung the dog-beating stick in her hand. It landed squarely on father's forehead. I'll make this clear too. I only offer divorce or widowhood. Choose one. Blood gushed from father's head. Without a moment's hesitation, he summoned the household physician. Mother seized the chance to dash outside. She shouted father's deeds to the world. I vaguely recall. The scene was utterly disgraceful. That night, mother held me close and said, "This world is too harsh for women. They all call me shameless." I shook my head. Father is the one without shame. Mother smiled. Later, she barely escaped with her life, yet she walked away triumphant, as if she'd won a great victory. After leaving, she never returned to her maternal home, nor did she send any word. For many years afterward, father believed mother had died out there. But I knew she was living even better. Mother always kept in touch with me. After learning of my plan, she entrusted Cui Lu, who had always been by her side, to me. Having traveled far and wide with mother, Cui Lu was naturally skilled in martial arts. That's why dislocating Cui Jiming's arm came so easily. Back then, my mind was clouded. I felt like a puppet being manipulated. Without my mother's resolve to burn her boats, I foolishly believed that endurance would bring peace. In the end, I ended up burning myself to death. But now, the outcome is entirely different. Thinking of Cui Jiming and Meng Jinyue's fates only lifts my spirits further. Cui Lu and I journeyed south together. The scenery here is truly beautiful. Cui Lu smiled. Indeed. Your mother arranged everything long ago, just waiting for your arrival. I never imagined mother would give me such a grand surprise. She had established herself as an independent businesswoman. Her trade spanned the land from north to south, making her a renowned female merchant in the Jiangnan region. Her silk business caught the eye of the touring fifth prince. Later, she was exceptionally appointed as an imperial merchant. Now, no one dared to bully her casually. My dear, these are personal bodyguards mother carefully selected for you. Each is strong and vigorous, full of vitality. She pulled me into her embrace. A woman should treat herself well. I nodded stiffly. This good life, has it finally come to me? The end.